The SWIS program, I think, means hope for people when they're arriving in a new country and they don't know anybody else.
So about 10 years ago, the provincial government at that time was responsible for settlement services, and they decided that it might be a good idea to provide that kind of support for newcomers. And the big question was, how would that support be provided? Would it be provided in community centers, through non-government organizations, through schools? And so they invited a number of folks to meet with the Ministry of Multiculturalism in BC, as it was at that time, to discuss how best to bring settlement support to newcomers. And I and others argued strongly that the best way to do it would be to support newcomers as their children enter the public school system. Most families come into Canada as a family unit with children, and when you get off that plane, you can disappear into the population and it's hard to find you. But when you are enrolling your children in a school, there's a perfect opportunity to connect with the newcomer families and make sure they're getting the support they need in order to be successfully integrated into our culture and society.
I think the benefit of the Settlement Workers in Schools program is how it supports our families, newcomers, because anyone who's new to a country or a place needs to feel welcomed, and they want to be supported, and they don't want to feel confused. They want to be able to find their way through in a comfortable manner, feeling that they can be successful. And for families in particular, one of the main reasons they've come to a new country is that they want something different for their children. They want success for their children, and so all that we can do through our Settlement Workers in Schools program to ensure that children are successful at school and that families are well settled and feeling comfortable, and that's the most important purpose and benefit of our program.
Well, at the beginning, arrived to Canada. It's a very nice place, amazing to see all these trees on the beaches and everything. So at the beginning it's very nice, but then when start the daily life, go to school, try to find a job, it starts to get panic.
First, when I arrived here in Canada, I was feeling scared, challenged at the same time. It's because I don't know where to go and I don't know where to start.
My husband always have in mind that our daughters would be a better life in Canada, but many things changed when my husband was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I promised him to take our daughters to Canada. I did it after he passed away.
The language barrier at the beginning of school was quite difficult.
For me, in the beginning, it was hard to find a job because it's totally a different way to get, to apply that job like back on my country.
I first heard the SWIS program when I registered my kid with the school district. There was a lady there that she introduced the program to me, and after my kids enrolled at their school, the settlement worker at that school contacted me, and she met me in person and walked me through all the things and the resources the SWIS could provide.
It really helped her, and I could see that it made her more relieved, and she just wants the best for us.
Even I remember she just sent me to the food bank. So I remember I went to the food bank and they give it to us, the food that we didn't expect, that they are helping the people, but we didn't know, only her give it to us, that information.
My brother is in elementary school. My SWIS always were helping him too. He will have difficult to talk language, his English is not that good. So She tried to get him in community centers and to make friends, to communication with others, and to improve his English too.
So to give you an overview of the Settlement Workers in Schools program in the Richmond School District, we have our hub is located at Grower Elementary School, and that's where we have our SWIS office space. But that is only where we have our desks and kind of a home. However, SWIS services are delivered at every single school district site in Richmond. That includes every elementary school and every high school, which is a really great model because it's accessible for people. Usually clients can get service when they're dropping their kids off from school or when they're picking them up after school. All of our sites are accessible with lots of parking, and it's just easy for people to get to. So the team currently has 15 staff on board, and out of those 15 staff, 10 are settlement workers in schools. We have 2 SWIS workers, which is a new addition. We have an admin assistant and 2 managers that help support the program. So with all of this infrastructure, we're able to support approximately 3,200 clients every year. SWIS workers work with a family, meaning the parents or guardians, and through that they develop an action plan to see what the family's goals are, not just for the parents but also for the children. So in that way we're supporting everybody in the family. Ideologically, what we're talking about in terms of settlement help and settlement support and integration is we provide service in 4 areas. Information and orientation can be delivered one-to-one. So you meeting with a SWIS worker who is going to provide you information that you're looking for in whatever areas you may be needing that. It can also be provided through group sessions, which can be workshops, information sessions, or different community activities that may be helpful for you to get to know your community, to be getting to know how to use the library, how to take the bus. All of those kinds of things can happen as group activities. We have lots of partnerships with different community agencies to help deliver these services. So we'll do city tours of Richmond with the city of Richmond, or we work a lot with the library. All of those kinds of community organizations are very, very good to us in terms of working together to help deliver the best services for clients.
When the families actually come and see the SWIS workers at the board office, we don't jump into what are the community resources right away. We actually look at their needs and assess it. So and then on the basis of that, we refer them to different community resources and where they need to get the services from.
When they come into a new country, they kind of hear and know no one to turn into. But then when they met us at the board office to do all their orientation and stuff like that, it's like it's a light that, okay, these are the information that we're giving them, directing them to the referrals.
Yeah, being 10 years, I will say we have been able to see all the faces, and now we can say that we have many Canadian families that we met when they were new here, either refugees or permanent landed immigrants or on work visa or different status, and now they are Canadian, and that's a big joy, and we feel really happy seeing this.
We can impact others' life. Are excellent for newcomers. They empower them rather than enable them, and they help them to join the community and be part of the community.
One of the highlights of working with a SWIS worker was a few years ago. I had a new student arrive at the school, and he was in fights every day. Every day he would wind up in my office because there had been a conflict. And when we gathered together, we thought, let's meet the family, let's see what we can do. And what we discovered is that this was a single mother raising 3 children here in Canada. She and her family had come from a war-torn country, had arrived in Toronto where the father died. She left 2 of her children who were adults by then in Toronto and was here in Richmond with her son, and he was having so much difficulty. So when we met with her, we said, how can we help? What can we do to make this different? And she was able to say, well, for her son, she really would like to have him do some after-school sports like basketball or soccer. And working with the SWIS worker who did all the research, found out where he could get free basketball lessons and free soccer lessons. She actually went to the extra step of finding out where he could go to a free camp in the summer. Things began to turn around. And I can say by grade 7, this child was not fighting every day. He had friends. He had a sense of being successful and moving forward. The mother, too, began to trust the SWIS worker, and when she needed help, she would phone the SWIS worker who would help her fill out a form. And one in particular, she wanted to become a cook. And she asked the SWIS worker to help her with these difficult forms of filling that out. And our SWIS worker did. And she went on to go into cooking school. I know that she finished it, and she began working. And here's a family who was on income assistance, who was able to move off of that. A couple of years ago, I was able to see the student who was now in grade 9. And I said, "How are you doing?" And he said his family had moved to Surrey, but that he loved school so much that he was busing every day just to come to school. And I know that without our SWIS worker taking the time to hear the story, to understand this family story, to build trust, and then to ask them what they needed as opposed to like blanket services. They needed help with just that, getting the boy to basketball lessons after school. It made the difference, and I'm ever so grateful that we were able to work together that way, but without the SWIS worker, it just wouldn't have been possible.
Essentially what we're helping people do is we're helping people become citizens. We're helping people become members of our society. And this in turn will help Canada, because usually people are really willing to give back once they've been established and once they've been able to settle themselves in their new community.
And try to be a kind of volunteer, doing a volunteer job to help them, to encourage another new immigrant.
When I finally found SWIS program, I found a light to lead me. It was amazing.
Thank you so much, and please continue helping other people and newcomers.
To summarize the SWIS program, I really like the analogy of a lighthouse because I think the settlement process can be hard. It can be exciting and a very great thing, but it can also be really difficult in the beginning. So I do see us as being a bit of a lighthouse. When it's dark for people and they're in a new country, they might not have friends yet, they don't have connections, they don't know how things work in a new place, that we can be that light for them.
The lighthouse is also sort of a metaphor for potential danger, and that it's very easy to be excited about coming to the new country and to be in that honeymoon phase, and then to arrive here and find that things are not as easy as it appeared at first. And we want to, through the SWIS program, really support newcomers in those first few years where they really are kind of lost. And we want to make sure that we're providing some kind of anchor and some kind of support, and that they definitely feel welcomed, and we want them to hang in there and stay.
And we can help them sort of figure out ways to get the things that they need to get done, to get the services that they need to get access to, that we can help them make a new life for themselves. And I know that my colleagues and we feel that it is a real privilege, it's an honor to do this kind of work and to be allowed to help people in this way is a really important thing. And I think it's part of what we like about the work that we do. We're all very passionate about helping newcomers. We all are mostly newcomers in the program, and it's our way of giving back.